Welcome to the Thinking Practitioner Podcast,
a podcast where we dig into the fascinating issues, conditions, and quandaries in the massage and manual therapy world today.
I'm Whitney Lowe.
And I'm Til Luchau.
Welcome to the Thinking Practitioner.
Welcome to this special mini episode of The Thinking Practitioner, where I talk with my longtime friend and colleague, Tom Myers, founder of Anatomy Trains and the host of the Anatomy Trains summer program in Maine. We're going to explore how our teaching has evolved over the years, what it really means to pursue mastery, and why the leg, knee, and foot are such powerful yet overlooked territories in manual therapy. And we reflect on the unique value of in-person learning, the value of sensation, and how that's what we work with as hands-on body workers, the deeper stories that their body parts hold, and what inspires us to keep showing up as students, teachers, and collaborators. This conversation leads to my upcoming Leg, Knee, and Foot Masterclass at Tom's summer program, happening August 17th through 19th in Walpole, Maine. Tom Myers, thanks for jumping in on the call. I'm coming to Maine to your amazing summer program, and I was saying hello about that, looking ahead to that, and thought it was a great chance just to talk to you while you're there about the summer program and about some bigger questions of what you're up to, what I'm up to, how we're thinking about this work after so many years of doing it.
And in this particular time as well.
And in this particular time, yes.
Yes. Hi, Til. I'm so glad to see you and glad to talk to you. And the rhododendrons won't be in bloom by the time that you get here, but other things will be in bloom. It's beautiful in Maine in the summer here, and I'm so glad you're coming to join us again.
You are right in front of your classroom where I'm going to be teaching. I'm so pleased that you've invited me back, first of all, and I've really enjoyed my times there.
Swing this around now. Come turn the camera around. There you go.
Let's get a picture of where you are. So this is Walpole, Maine, and this is the Anatomy Trains classroom.
We have a whole summer program here. We're glad to have you as part of it. Then we have Sharon for some of the summer, and Wojciech from Sharon Wheeler doing her scar work and tail end. And we have Wojciech coming over from Poland.
Wojciech Kakowski doing Zoga movement. He also does stuff here with me. And you're doing something?
Yeah, I'm filling in. You know, when those things aren't happening, I do immersions, and we're doing a couple of advanced courses for structural integrators who want to do advanced work and stuff like that. We're having fun. I'm so glad you could join us. What is your course in this?
Leg, knee, and foot. It's a master class format. It takes 3 days to really dive into my advanced myofascial techniques perspective on the leg, knee, and foot. And that's August 17th through 19th.
That's great. I'm doing a lot of those. Let's use the word mastery classes. A 3-day class where you can take a bunch of people who are at a fairly high level, and by going into one subject, really take it on at a deeper level such that people can use that at a higher level when they get home. And I know that's part of what you're trying to teach in your courses, and I know that I got renewed in that really recently. I'd gotten to a stage in my 70s where I just was, I had my tapes, and they're good tapes. They're honed over 50 years of teaching. And suddenly I got renewed in teaching a couple of years ago. I just feel fabulous about it. I'm eager to get to work in the morning. Why do we have to wait till 9 o'clock to start? And I did not expect that to happen. I expected to sort of settle into an old age and not be excited again about the process of teaching. I'm always excited to teach people, but my ego gets a boost from it. But this thing of mastery is just, it's not master like Zen master, or neither Til nor I. Well, I'll speak for myself. I'm not enlightened. And so this assumption of mastery is when it becomes just inside you. I was holding up my hands, but it's not just inside the hands. It's inside the body, don't you think?
Embodiment is a big part of it. You got my own rekindling of excitement here. Different circumstances, different situation, but yeah, and it's been great to have the space and time to drop in and spend more time with things. That's the big shift for me. I'm curious for you about what's different when you're thinking about mastery, but for me, a lot of it has been less focus on content delivery and more focus, like you mentioned, on embodiment, and actually getting these things in our own body, and actually being able to work from that place is what inspires our clients, I think. and taking the time for myself to find my own connection to the work, and some of us, updating my knowledge base, but a lot of it is just taking time to really enjoy the work itself and to go
And let it sink.
to let it sink, to find the places in it that feed me the most, that seem to be the most effective with the clients, and then to have the time to hang out with those.
You and I met on the early stages of training in the Rolf Institute, doing the pre-training. And that was always my joy, was to be subversive at the beginning of somebody's education, give them an alternative point of view and a sturdy one that they could use on into the future. And I have this shift in teaching also was accompanied by a shift of, I really would like the beginners to get their stuff together, and I'd like to start teaching the more advanced people now. And again, I didn't know that shift was going to go. So we're doing more and more of these kinds of mastery or focused or intensive classes, whatever they get to be called.
I don't know if it's like this for you, but I ended up staying with that program at the Rolf Institute for 20 years and taught beginners for 20 years. And then at some point I graduated and was interested in doing a lot more than beginners. But what's interesting is it turns out that it's the fundamentals that I keep coming back to.
Yep.
It's really, even as I think about what can I offer advanced practitioners, and I guess I should say this class we're talking about isn't just for advanced practitioners, it's for all levels, but it's really a detailed analysis or experience really of the fundamentals that make the work really effective. What's still there for you when you're thinking about your mastery level classes? What are the fundamentals that keep appearing?
How little the world has changed since I started, and it actually just the fierce urgency of now is, as the world is becoming unstable in just such a number of dimensions, is what is sturdy, what is working inside, and the conviction, without going into the whole story, that kinesthetic feeling, both movement and manual therapy kind of thing, is going to be a kind of currency in the future. Up till now, we've leaned on money, but as Yuval Harari says, money is the last agreement that we have, and when we lose that agreement, which is coming apart, it seems, then the actual thing, the only thing we're going to know it's true. We can't tell what's audio is true. We can't tell what we see is true, but we do think what we feel is true, which sometimes may not be true also. But the truth of kinesthetic feeling and the need for that in the world is still here.
That's great. You've been a powerful spokesperson for the role of feeling, for the role of kinesthetic awareness. And that's a fundamental cornerstone of what I'm looking to inspire in people too, as in practitioners, is an understanding that what we do for our clients is help them be more embodied, help them feel their bodies in different ways. And the science, for example, more and more points to the fact that that's the area we may be having one of the greatest impacts, is in the body sense, even more than in the stuff or the material that we're teaching. It's the lived state or the experienced state or the felt state that gets shifted.
When I got into this, my mother said to me, I'm 22 years old, so that's starting out on, and she said, "All that education, and you're going to become a massage therapist?" And it took her a long time before she saw the wisdom in that choice. My dad came around a lot earlier, but I felt very vindicated in that choice as things progressed, because in fact, there's this fascia and it's very complicated, and the whole unfolding of things. And now I didn't realize that, again, this importance was going to be emphasized as we were so taken away from the body and taken away from nature. And the kids who are coming to classes, who were born almost within the iPhone era, they have a different sensibility and they have a different sense of their body. And I want to understand how their sense of the body is, because I didn't live totally in the electronic age. But I want them to understand what I can convey to them about the reality of the body feeling.
Well, and I found that there was no more satisfying work for me than helping people be in their bodies.
Yes.
As marginalized as the body is in the collective, in our value system, helping invite people into their bodies and helping people find ways to do that for each other is so awesome. So cool.
Right, but it's countercultural. It was countercultural in the 1950s, just as gender. I'm thinking I'm living where I was living in the 1950s, and the gender stereotypes were so rigid then, and I was not a typical male, and so I thought I was a sissy, I guess is where it would come down, until the word queer came about, and that had all kinds of negative things. So it's wonderful that whole thing has opened up.
There's a
People are
bigger,
so stuck in
bigger continuum to move on now.
Yeah.
It gets us out of some of those boxes as well.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking about the role of the feet and the legs, the topic of my workshop there with you.
Yeah.
And
So what's your workshop aimed at?
it's technical. We're looking at actual hands-on things to do with the feet, knees, and legs, and they're serving the goals of this series I've constructed, which are refined proprioception and more options for movement. But as a metaphor, feet and legs, and going back to what you're saying about the world and how the currency of sensation is one that we can keep sinking into the value of. The role of the feet and legs, I'm wondering if you have thoughts on that. Not to make too much of the equivalence of a body part equals that or means that, but there is a special quality, I think, that comes. I see it in each of the classes I teach that are focused on a different part of the body. There's a different mood that emerges, or different kinds of interactions that happen in the class, and certainly different experiences we have when those parts of our body are awake or available to us. But where do you go with feet and legs and knees?
Well, we have really taken on the work of Gary Gray here due to the influence of James Earls over the last few years, and so his kind of cataract waterfall of chain reaction events that go up the joints. And of course, we're thinking about how they're handled by the anatomy trains, how they're handled by the tendinous support from above. So that, for so many years, I just thought about, well, is the arch high or low, and what does that mean, and how can I change it? And once I got a hold of that information and realized, oh no, it's not where it is, it's how dynamic it is, that just has changed my attitude to feet and leg work so much. So that was a big change for me. But it's always been the proprioceptive thing. And as I get into my late 70s, I feel that I am losing proprioception in my feet. It is a result of aging, and I do what I can to slow it down, and I think I have, but they're not the feet that I had at 60 and or 50.
Well, as aging is a thing, and
Aging is a thing.
long nerves in our body age quicker than other nerves, so that's not uncommon at all to be less proprioceptively acute in our feet as time goes on. There's so much that comes from our relationship with the earth that we feel down through our legs. And as you mentioned in the work of Gary Gray, these movement events, whether it's that his literal technical sequences or the bigger sense that what happens above is determined what's going on below. The feet have a really special role.
Well, yeah, the Dorje, as above, so below, is certainly works in the body that way for feet, knees, and hips.
And there's the story that Ida Rolf's first session was about the feet, until too many people complained about how uncomfortable it was, and she did something nicer first, a breath. So in her model too, starting at the feet had some significance. Would you agree?
Ida Rolf starts conceptualizing with the feet. She actually didn't start with the feet as a place to start working. But she was shortly there, because if you are not changing the feet and the legs, you are pretty well doomed to have the same thing happen on top of it, because it's so determining. And I don't know, I was familiar in my early years with massaging the muscles of the legs and trying to get them to be looser or more relaxed or that kind of thing. It wasn't until I started playing with the dynamics of the strings, understanding the compartments in the legs and how they related to the arches, that I was able to start doing much more specific work, and which is, I presume, what you're doing in your master class.
That sounds like a apt description. Tom, thanks for taking the time today. You got to get back to class.
Fun to talk till, and yep, I got to go back and bring these people back for a landing, but it's been great fun to talk to you, and I'll see you shortly when you get here in August, is it?
Yep, August. I'll name those dates again in the outro. You got to go. I got to look those up.
You can post it.
Yeah, exactly. We'll put it in the show notes or something. Thank you, Tom. Have fun in
See
your
you
class.
later. Thanks, Til.
Bye. Thanks again for Thomas Myers for the conversation and for inviting me to teach at his Anatomy Trained summer program. If you're interested in going deeper into the structure, movement, and meaning of the leg, knee, and foot, Chris Pohowski and I will be teaching a 3-day masterclass on just that, August 17th through 19th, 2025 at Tom's Anatomy Trained Summer School in Walpole, Maine. You can find details or register on my site, advanced-trainings.com, or on Tom's site, anatomytrains.com. And we'd love to see you there. As always, email us at info@thethinkingpractitioner.com or look for my co-host, Whitney Lowe, or myself on social media. Thanks for listening to the Thinking Practitioner podcast.